All right, guys, welcome back into another episode of the Show Baseball Podcast presented by Beyond the Monster. I am your host, Andrew Parker. Today's episode, I am joined by Mason Marriott of the Arizona Diamondbacks organization. Mason was a sixth-round pick in the 2024 draft, and he is off to an absolutely fantastic start to the 2025 season there in High-A there for Hillsboro. He actually won Player of the Week award for his performance a couple weeks back. But before I get any further, before I shoot to the interview with him, please, if you're watching me on YouTube right now, listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, like, subscribe, thumbs up, anything, comment, tell me I'm doing a terrible job, great job, whatever it is. But yeah, it helps a ton. And obviously we do this every week for you guys. But yeah, without further ado, though, let me shoot you off to the interview with Mason Marriott. All right, guys, I am joined by Arizona Diamondbacks pitcher Mason Marriott. Mason has actually started the year on a fantastic note. He is fresh off as of a couple weeks ago, winning a Player of the Week award for his performance in High-A there. And that's actually where I want to start, Mason. You got off to a great start this year. It's obviously you're coming into your first full pro season. So how important was that for you to get off to that kind of start?
Oh, it was, I feel like it's I've always heard it's not how you start, it's how you finish. But, coming out of the gate with the confidence to be able to go do it, especially like in your first year, that's what the Diamondbacks kind of focus on us and during spring training was get your confidence up there. You're good enough to be here. So go out there like you are good enough and keep doing what you do and just trust your stuff. So being able to do it first few weeks and be able to compete at a high level is pretty fun and hopefully keep it going.
So there's an alternate universe out there that you started in a polar opposite direction where you may have given up 10 earned runs in your first four starts or something like that. And
Hmm.
it could have gone completely opposite. So for you with your confidence, just knowing that you went out there, you're a professional now, and that you're like, okay, I went out there, I got outs, I could see success early on. Like, was that important for you, I guess, in your confidence and I guess in yourself going forward?
Yeah, it's always important, but like I mean, this game is the game of failure. Like you're gonna fail, you're gonna get beat every now and then, but it's all about keeping the same head every single day. Like you can give up 10 or you can strike out 10. You got to have the same head the next day. Like you got to be able to keep going and keep pushing forward and you know, kind of not get greedy with it. Stay humbled, stay on the attack and keep working and, just keep pushing yourself to that extra limits.
And so, you did kind of talk about it, obviously, like some of the things you're doing to start the year, but, you did get a very, very small taste in professional ball in 24 after you did get drafted in low A, but, obviously starting the year in high A. What kind of things did you learn about yourself? I know it's a very small sample size. I know, like you said, it's not about kind of how you start, it's kind of how you finish, but just throughout the appearances this year, like what kind of things have you learned about yourself at the high A level?
Yeah, there's definitely more talent. The higher you go up, the more talented the hitters are, more talented teams are. Just after spring training, had a pretty good spring training and, kept pushing forward on it. Um, Worked with the coaches a lot, worked with the entire staff with the Diamondbacks during spring training. Was able to hone in some things, figured out some things that worked best for me. Big thing was like pitchability, tunneling, doing all that stuff, deception, and all that was very new to me. And coming out of college and just kind of learning that stuff makes the game a little bit easier on yourself. Just hitting's the hardest thing to do in sports, so not giving those hitters so much credit. They're talented hitters, but it's still hard to hit a ball. So kind of just staying on that attack, like attack the hitters every single time, try not to pitch around them, and just kind of fill up the zone with your best stuff, and hopefully you can get them out. And if you do, you're good. If you don't, you don't. Just keep moving on and keep pushing forward.
So you did just you just brought up spring training, and Obviously, you just went through your very first professional spring training. What was that like? Obviously, you have all of the organization in the complex. You have every single minor league player around you in all levels, and probably some guys that you had never met before as well that you got to meet for the first time. So, what were some of your takeaways from spring training?
Oh, spring training was it's crazy, like there's so many people there in one spot. You walking around all stars, you're walking around Cy Young winners, you're like, okay, this is real. Like I'm in professional baseball. And it's very easy to kind of get lost in that and kind of make you feel like yourself. You're like, oh, I'm not even this is my first year. Like I'm not even close to these guys. But I mean, the guys are so great. You can sit there, talk to them, ask questions. That's what I kind of like about the Diamondbacks. Everyone's on the same team. Everyone's trying to kind of pull on the same rope. And the coaching staff feels the same way. Everyone's open with it. If you have questions, you can ask anybody. A lot of the older guys that are in Amarillo and stuff, I was able to talk to them, figure out how pro ball is, how it works. And coming from college, it is a little bit easier. So I'm able to stay on the same work ethic that I had in college, keep pushing forward but also seeing a bunch of different guys from the Dominican Republic, from Venezuela, and picking their brains on it. They've been playing the game since they were 13, 12 years old, professionally pretty much, and kind of seeing how they do it, and you're just like, wow, it's crazy culture stuff. Like you're like, this is wild, but it's a blessing to see it and to learn from everybody.
Yeah, I had another member of your draft class there with the D-backs on this podcast actually, and Titus Sissel right after he got drafted, and he was obviously in a much different spot than you. You're a college guy. You had done your 3 years at Baylor, and he's a fresh 18-year-old that it's moving away from home for the first time in his life.
Yep.
So I know that you guys, it's like all walks of life. I feel like you kind of mentioned the Dominican guys might be away from home for the first time ever, but for you during spring and as your first one as a professional, did you have like a pinch me moment where like maybe you had a guy that you watched on TV before, or like was there any moments where you were just kind of like, oh crap, like I'm with these guys, I'm a teammate with this guy?
Yeah, just like it was some random little inter squad game that we had, and Corbin's on the mound throwing. You're just like, wow, that's crazy. Like I play with this guy named Louis the Show. Like it's kind of weird. But just watching him how he carries himself on the field, like a lot of these guys, they're same as us. They're still little kids. They're playing it. I mean, baseball is still a child's game. We do it professionally, but it's still a child's game, and you got to have fun with it. You got to joke around, have fun, because we're all still playing a game for our job, and it is fun. It can be hard. It's definitely a tough sport to play professionally, but if you just take your mindset of like, hey, I'm still playing a game, let's have fun with it. It takes you a longer way than trying to more focusing on on succeeding than just playing the game and having fun.
Yeah, I try to tell people that because I've spent a lot of time in clubhouses and dugouts and locker rooms over the last couple of years around minor league baseball, and I try to tell people that it's like these guys, no matter if they're number one prospect in baseball or unranked guy, they're just normal people like you and me. They like
Hmm.
golfing, they like playing MLB The Show. That was until I was face to face with Joey Votto in Buffalo last year, and I'm like, that guy is not like us. He is a Hall of Famer, but there's very few and far between though. It's like Corbin
Yeah.
Burns, like that one's kind of cool too. But so regards to you doing your first spring training and just getting that first one under your belt, what kind of things did you see yourself, I guess, working on? Like, what kind of things did you want to improve upon heading into spring training?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of it's weird to say, but becoming a pitcher, you can go up there and throw a ball and you can throw 95, 98, you can throw 100, but you have to know how to pitch. Like these hitters are so talented. You have to know, all right, I need to put it here, I need to put it there. Learning scouting reports was a big thing for me. I went to college and scouting reports were kind of handed to me. I got scouting reports. Now I'm doing my own scouting reports and doing all that stuff. So you have to be. a student of the game at the same time as playing it. Like, so you're kind of doing that kind of stuff back and forth and just kind of learning the full aspect. Like, I was doing school and baseball. Now I'm just doing baseball. So let's learn baseball. Have baseball school. Like, I'm learning hitters. I'm learning what makes me perform the best I can. What makes me, all right, I can't throw this pitch in this situation. Like, it's gonna get hit hard. And I had a few of those. You throw a pitch and you're like, oh, I thought it was a good pitch, but it gets taken 450 dead center. You're just like, okay, can't do that. So you kind of just learn from your mistakes and keep learning from your success and just put it all into one and try to make the best game plan you can.
And I want to take you back here for a second to 2024. And I'm going to go out on a limb and probably say that 2024 was one of the more, not stressful, but just more, I don't know, just action packed year you probably had in baseball as you finished up your last year at Baylor, you get drafted, you report down to Arizona, and you got to learn a whole new set of teammates, coaches, development staff, just pro baseball. And then you end up actually making out to an affiliate and made some starts. So I guess my question for you is, like, you're heading into this previous offseason. Were you exhausted? Like, did you treat that like a normal off season? I guess normal. I mean, you never really had a professional off season before, but how did you handle that going into it?
Yeah, the off season was definitely different this year. I had 70 innings at Baylor, and then I continued to throw after the season because knew I had a chance to get drafted. I knew I had a chance to get sent to affiliate right after I got drafted. Um, so I technically really didn't get off season until the minor league season ended. And so like that workload was definitely new to me. It was the most innings I've threw ever. Um, but taking what learned from college and picking up from different working out at DST and stuff and Tomball, they taught me what I needed to do to stay healthy, stay prepared, stay twitchy, stay strong, and all that stuff. So then going into the off season, I was like, okay, this is my first time actually getting an off season. Like, I don't have school, I don't have anything. I have to focus on next year. So I was able to dive into it, get stronger, get faster, get more mobility in my hips, my arms, my torso, and everything. And then going into spring training, I felt like I was in the best shape of my life. I was ready to go and everything. And but just for your first off season, it's definitely like you're kind of sitting there tapping your toes. You're like, okay, I've never done this before. I want to get back into it. So it's longer than it's not as long, but it feels long. So I mean, it was definitely new for me. So I had to kind of hold myself back at a few times and be like, okay, we have a long season ahead of us, long season ahead of us. Let's do what we need to do today and keep working.
Yeah, and obviously I know that the Diamondbacks organization and the pitching development, the coordinators and all that, I know they probably gave you plans for what they wanted you to do, like, if they wanted you to work on a velocity program or strength training, whatever it is. They definitely gave you something. So for you, uh, what was, I guess, what was the message from the team? Like, did they like your arsenal? Did they want you to add pitches? I guess what did they kind of talk to you about going into the offseason?
Yeah, going to the off season, they kind of told me I had the stuff to this whatever I got drafted, the stuff that got me drafted. They're like perfected. You have a good fastball, good ride fastball, good curveball. You have a good changeup. So that was the big thing for me was in college, I had a good changeup, but I really didn't know where it was going to go. So this offseason, I really honed in on figuring out the changeup, getting feel for it, being able to throw the fastball on the top of the zone in all four quadrants, and landing the breaking ball early. And then, honing in on the slider, just kind of doing that. Then we added a little cutter. So adding the cutter really opened up the door for a lot of my other pitches that I already had. And so that really took off during spring training. But like going in, like our pitching coordinator and stuff, he was pretty much just telling me to kind of hone in on what you're good at, get really good at that, and then open it up. So during the off season was a lot of kind of just building on what I already had to go into it. And, being able to do that and not trying to add new stuff, not trying to do new things, and being able to perfect what I already have really helped me make that jump and, kind of just going at it like a professional. Because, you can go at it trying to make new pitches like, oh, that's gross, but does it really play with your arsenal? So you kind of got to go in there, be professional, know what you're good at, and do what you're good at. So that's kind of what I did during the offseason.
All right. Well, I have a few questions left for you before I let you slide here. I had to show some love to our great university over in Waco, Texas, but I think I read a stat or heard it. I think, but watching a couple highlights of you, but I think I read something that Baylor baseball has had a guy drafted in the last 31 of 33 MLB drafts. Am I wrong? Do you think that sounds about
No,
right?
yeah, that's about right. Baylor's a very sneaky school for it. We haven't had the best years coming in records wise and stuff, but the player development, the coach staff, just the whole community around it, it definitely makes a person that you would see in pro ball. Like you're learning how to deal with your classes. We don't have online classes. You got to go to school. You got to go to class. You got to do this stuff. So your time management is very important there. And the baseball team it's hardcore. We haven't been winning that much, but you're getting your stuff in day out, the coaching staff is always pushing you. So that doesn't. I haven't heard that stat, but it doesn't shock me if that's true at
I
all.
think I saw it on. There's actually a video out there when I think a local Baylor news channel, whenever you got drafted, they said, "Hey, this is like the 31st of I think it's 33 or 34, the last MLB drafts. They've had at least one guy taken in the
Yep.
draft, which is pretty freaking impressive, man." So,
Yes, sir.
and you continued that trend last year, obviously, and I'm a Mizzou guy as well, so like I know what bad baseball is. I've been watching it for the last decade. So I mean, it could always be worse, is what I'm saying. All right, couple questions left, a little random for you. When you have, minor league baseball, you have that Monday off day, or if you're just, you're killing some free time during spring or whatever, what are you doing off the field?
When we had the Monday off, a lot of the guys we get hit at the golf course. So golf course is always a go-to spot for us. And then we have a couple buddies. I mean, I'm from down Texas. We like to go hunt and fish. So when I can go hunt and fish, I'm gonna go hunt and fish. Um,
That was actually my last question that you kind of you led into, but I was going to ask you. Obviously being out in Arizona and then going to their affiliates, what is something you miss the most about Texas?
um, I do miss that good old Tex-Mex food. Um,
Yeah.
And then, just, being away from family, I got engaged just last November, so being away from the fiance is tough, but, she makes it out when she can make it out. That part, I mean, that's for everybody, but Texas, Bucky's, definitely miss
Oh yeah.
Bucky's. And then, just being able to go out to pretty much anywhere I want to with all my buddies, going out and hunting, fishing, sitting a couple thousand acres of land and just being stupid kids. That's always a good time. So I mean, Texas is home for me. It's always going to be home for me. It's the greatest state there is, I think. So, but Arizona's not too bad either. We have great weather when it's not 115, but right now it's great. So, I mean, I'm just happy. Like Oregon. It was pretty cold. It's pretty cold. 45. I was like, okay, I'm not used to this one. But
Yeah.
being able to get through it and seeing all, I mean, I'm kind of traveling the country at this moment in my life, so seeing all these different lands. The first time in Oregon, we went to Vancouver, never been to Canada. That was cool to see. So all that stuff's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a whole part of the country I've never been to, the Pacific Northwest. So it's definitely on the bucket list, and you're kind of checking it off a little bit, which I guess is kind of cool at the same time. And
Yes,
some of those,
sir.
Vancouver is a cool city too.
Oh yeah.
Um, But yeah, I think, well, I guess my last question to wrap it up here, congrats on the engagement, by the way.
I appreciate it.
I also just got married this past year, so I kind of know what wedding planning is. Have you started that process yet? Are you stressed about that process yet?
Yeah, we started it. I think I'm a little more stressed than a little less stressed than my fiance, I would
That's fair.
say. She's kind of, she wants that perfect wedding, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be there. It's gonna be perfect. So it's gonna be fun. But she wants all this stuff, and just kind of keeping her like steady on it. Like, hey, let's just slow down a little bit. We got till December. Like, let's slow down. But it's a great time. Planning it. It's the rest of our lives. So we have one day for the rest of our lives. So oh, only one wedding for me. So this is gonna be it. We both want one wedding. That's it. So.
Yep.
So that's the way we do it. We're gonna do it right, and it's fun. It's definitely a different thing I've never done planning wise. I don't plan parties. I don't plan stuff like that. So planning a wedding is definitely different. But it's a good time.
I told my wife this. There's only two times that everybody you love in your life and we will be under one roof, and it's your wedding and your funeral. And you don't get to be there for your funeral, so you got to
Yep.
enjoy it. But all right, Mason, I appreciate all the time. Thank you so much for hopping on. And yeah, we'll be looking forward to seeing what you're going to do in the future. And obviously, we're rooting for you for the rest of 2025.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.